What is the meaning of insanity? Is it a mental illness? Or is it an extremely foolish act? Both are correct in a way, but the meaning of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting a different result. And that is exactly how we describe the Mirror Dungeons of Limbus Company. The same layout, the same maps, the same encounters. To make myself clear, I don't hate the Mirror Dungeons. I just think it's a little outdated. And to be fair, it really hasn't changed all that much since it came out in Season 2 of the game. All the way back in December 14, 2023? Hold up, am I reading that right? It's almost been 3 years? That is concerning. But as you can see, the gameplay hasn't changed all that much, besides from them adding a few new encounters and introducing the theme packs. Apart from that, nothing much was really added to the Mirror Dungeons from what I can remember. Now, I could go on a rant about how the Mirror Dungeon is boring and how P-Moon should do better, but instead of doing that, I'm actually here to offer Kim Shin-hoon some ideas on how to improve upon the Mirror Dungeons. No, not that one. Not that one. Go back, go back! Before I start, I'd like to say that I am by no means a game developer nor a business owner, so take all of this with a grain of salt. You can put the pitchforks and torches down. This video is mostly made for fun, okay? Okay, let's start off with map designs. What we have now is a linear map stretching from left to right, with 3 pathways you can choose: top, middle, and bottom. While you're progressing these pathways, you will either run into a regular encounter, focus encounter, elite encounters, events, abnos, or what I'd like to call mid-bosses, and then the boss encounter being at the very end, along with the shop. Pretty simple, right? Here's what I would do to spice it up a little. Boom! What do you think?
Hey, isn't that just Chroma's Mirror Dungeon?
Yes it is, and here's the reason why. The map design is really good in my opinion. There are tons of places to check out. Plus, I really like the fact that you can backtrack to go to a different port of interest, at the cost of your time and HP of course. I also like the idea of hidden rooms, where if you succeed a check, a hidden area pops up to explore. Who knows, it might just lead to some goodies or a secret boss battle. With these changes, it gives you the freedom to explore more, making it feel more unique and roguelike. Here's how it works. You start off at the edge of the map, and you can only see one square in front of you. The rest is covered in fog, and the more you advance, the more of the map is revealed. Exactly like the Mirror Dungeon. We really don't have to change much, just Mirror Dungeonify it. Quick and simple, right? They could also reuse the map layouts of the Unchanging and the Pallid Whale. Of course, change it up a little to make it more unique, like give it a fire theme or a sinking theme to fit the theme packs better. And that's the only thing I would change really, not much, just a fresh new coat. Now let's do the gameplay of the Mirror Dungeon. By the way, when I say gameplay, what I really mean is how the random encounter works. Mostly the boss battles, and not the core gameplay. Like clashing, in my opinion, it's already really good. The big issue with Mirror Dungeon Hard is that it's too easy and too repetitive. And I understand for newer players that would be a different story altogether. But if you have a competently built team, then you will easily breeze through the Mirror Dungeon no problem. That is exactly why I do solo runs, or try to cosplay as a boss encounter, like the Fraud Duos or the Pequod Trios, just to make it more of a challenge, because as of now, it's too easy. And here's what I would do to make the Mirror Dungeon more harder and more interesting. Before I start, let's add a new ability called Distortion Detection. And I know, most of them are abnos, but it sounds cool and it's a little nod to Distortion Detective. What this basically does is show you the location of the 2 mid-bosses, and maybe a little on top. Now, some of you may ask, why would I need this? Well, that's because we're letting the bosses use ego gifts. Look, I know that sounds crazy, but hear me out. You know when you choose a theme pack and you get a glimpse of what the bosses could be? Why don't we make the mid-bosses more mandatory to hunt down and defeat? For example, Repressed Wrath. When you choose this, you see Otter Blossom Moth, Skin Prophet, and the Brazen Bull on the pack. Otter Blossom being the final boss, and the other 2 being the mid-bosses, or vice versa. Here's my idea. You could either choose to hunt down the 2 mid-bosses and collect their ego gifts, or you could go straight to fighting Otter Blossom Moth and suffer the consequences. If you choose to hunt down the 2 mid-bosses, not only will you have more ego gifts, but Otter Blossom will just be the same old moth, if you don't go out of your way to hunt them down, then Otter Blossom would have these 4 ego gifts instead. For balance sake, let's say the ego gifts only have half the effect it normally does. Still, this would make Otter Blossom significantly harder to face. With these ego gifts, Otter Blossom would have an easier time fulfilling her conditional on her skills, forcing you to play more cautiously, unless you want to eat a fully powered Otter Blossom star. But wouldn't that make solo runs impossible, you say? To you eagle-eyed viewers, I got you covered. Hey, so turns out I lost all of the footage I had for the Arknights collab. Yeah, it's completely gone. Don't know where it went? Completely gone. I'll try my best to recreate it, but that sucks. Do you remember the Arknights collab? When facing off with distorted mayors, there's a little machine in the middle of the map, and when you hit it, it cleanses the nervous impairment on all of your sinners. So why don't we reuse that for this version of the mirror dungeon? Instead of cleansing nervous impairment, let it cleanse status effects so you won't implode on yourself. Let's say it appears at the beginning of the boss encounter, and when hit, it will reappear after 2 or 3 rounds. A simple solution for a simple problem. Basically, it's a failsafe just in case the count gets too high too quickly. And now, we've reached the end of the video. There's a lot more I'd like to say on how to improve upon the mirror dungeon, like adding bindings such as only being able to deploy a certain amount of units at once, capping your max HP at 50%, or only being able to use 2-star units. But I've yapped enough. Here's my proof of concept. I know that this will probably change nothing, and I'm fine with that. I'm happy with where Limbus is and how it's doing. I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty excited for the next season of Limbus and what it brings to the game. I'm also excited for Ryoshu's Kanto to come out and how P-Moon will adapt the story, not to mention the new Millie track. Anyway, tell me what you would do to improve the mirror dungeon down in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Oh, and share the video too. Glory to Project Moon, and see ya.